Definitely more balanced.
And so this is before and this is after.
Wow.
This is the most dramatic shift I've seen. We go from overactive and kind of at a diagonal both ways a little bit to a brain that's almost 100% in just a relaxed state where it's all working on the same page.
This is Andy, an amateur endurance athlete, golfer, and business leader in the fitness space. Andy is visiting Scottsdale, Arizona for a direct neurofeedback session, just a few days before his extreme triathlon in Utah. And this is Keith, a seasoned professional in the wellness industry and a skilled operator of direct neurofeedback. Known for his work with both people and competitive horses, you are about to witness a direct neurofeedback session.
Representation of what we're trying to accomplish, where this peak performance is the goal. And so regardless if you're on the left side of the bell curve all the way out to infinity or the right side, this neurofeedback will push you into that peak performance category. All right, so then this is just gonna sit right on your forehead.
Okay.
And then these two pieces are gonna go right behind your ears. You have to watch the screen. You don't have to kind of focus on anything. It's just more of getting a picture of where you're at right now.
Andy, have you ever done anything like this before?
Never.
And so kind of what I am looking at on here, and the way that Doug Cowan explained it to me, is the colors are only insinuating more activity and less activity. The red is not necessarily meaning that there's a problem with that area or that something is slower, something's faster. It's just more brain activity the warmer it is. The cooler it gets, then the more limited brain activity there is. So when I look at these, kind of this summary picture, which takes the full 30-second reading and just averages the whole thing together, and it tells me kind of what it looks like on an average scale, I more so just look at, does this side of the brain look similar to this side of the brain to get that coherence? So when I look at this, I see that there's more concentration on the right side of the brain than there is the left side. So after doing the DNF training, then we can put the Muse back on and we can look at it, and I can show them side by side to see how much did we engage the other side to get it to where they look identical on both sides. So right now is usually when I have people do a mental inventory, and you can start either at the head or the toes, whatever is easier for you to kind of work through your body and just kind of recognize where you're at right now. And we're not trying to change anything at this point. We're just trying to bring attention to it. I know my thought patterns circulate, and so I kind of compare it to a hamster wheel, and I try to give it a speed. And I'm like, am I cycling really fast right now, or is it really slow, or is it non-existent? And I just try to bring attention to it. And then as we kind of progress through today, we'll check in after every stimulation that we'll do, which will last about 20 seconds. And I'm just looking for anything where you felt something shift.
Gotcha.
Even if you can't describe it, because sometimes, especially the first time somebody does it, it's not uncommon that you'll feel something different, but you can't describe what that feeling is.
Right.
So this side of the screen is channel A, which is going to be your left brain, and then this side of the screen is your right brain.
Gotcha.
So these are what the waves look like, and then this is kind of, it's more of like a topographic map. So if you look at it close enough, you'll see it's kind of moving closer to you. And that's just a visual representation of what brainwave state is dominant in that moment.
Gotcha.
You've already received the first 20 seconds of stimulation, and I don't tell people anymore when it's about to start, because I feel like then you're expecting something, and some people flinch or they move because they're expecting some form of a sensation to come from it, and you won't feel anything.
Gotcha.
So when it's in this mode right now, this is the right brain waves and these are the left brain. Have that backwards, sorry. This is left and this is right. And we're just watching how your brain responds to it. So we're gonna take that 3-minute rest period, and then it will go back to 20 seconds of stimulation. I think the rest period is more important than the stimulation, because we can see either the way that the brain is changing or how reluctant it is to change.
Gotcha.
So I see this as way more important than the actual stimulation.
Okay.
And how I kind of like to explain that is, if we stimulate you perfect, then you're going to get all the benefit with no side effects.
Gotcha.
If we overstimulate you, you're going to get all the benefit with the side effects for an hour or two. If we understimulate you and I shut it off too early, then you get nothing. And
Gotcha.
that's the only time that I'm disappointed is if I think that we're there and we're not all the way there and I shut it off too early.
Sure.
And then I check in a day or two later and they're like, yeah, nothing felt any different.
Yeah. I'd say I definitely feel more like just relaxed overall.
The heart rate variability I have noticed with everyone that wears devices like that, or they have like an Apple Watch or something, since starting the neurofeedback training has trended up.
Good.
I've noticed there's one person that is actually not moved, but I think there's other things that are going on with that. But everyone else that I've worked with their heart rate variability has started to increase.
Yeah, that's probably the metric I'm most focused on for endurance sports.
So what's everything you've felt so far?
I would say probably the relaxation being the most noticeable. And maybe it's kind of dissipated a little bit now, like maybe feel a little bit tighter again. But then I definitely feel like my mouth is more dry, not increase in salivation.
Okay.
Is that normal?
I mean, everyone responds to it just a little bit.
It's also hard to tell if I'm like slightly dehydrated because I'm in a way drier climate right now.
I'm asking you a bunch of questions.
And I haven't talking. Yeah.
Because so far from what you've told me and what I'm seeing is usually when I stop just to avoid that overstimulation, I just wanted to confirm again that like you are experiencing something from it and I'm not shutting it off too early.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of a big one that I look at is this look symmetrical on both sides?
Gotcha.
Or is there, high beta waves only on one side of the brain versus the other side? So as long as those are looking similar, these waves are looking relatively calm and you're feeling something is usually when I shut it off.
Gotcha.
So that was 3 total minutes of actual stimulation over the past probably 30 minutes-ish.
Cool.
And so that's what I think is the best part about the neurofeedback itself is how little it truly is when you compare it to everything that you're doing while you're in the session.
Right.
So same thing, just kind of sit still, try to relax as much as you can, and you don't have to necessarily do anything right now. So this is that average, same image that we took the first time. It takes a picture every half a second. So this is 60 images that it's averaged out to make one kind of summary of what that brain looks like. So in general, the brain is relatively cold in this state after, which is an indication that everything is just a little bit more relaxed than it was the first time. I'm going to pull 1 is going to be before and 2 is going to be after. So 1's going to be on the left side of the screen.
Definitely more balanced.
And so this is before and this is after.
Wow.
This is the most dramatic shift I've seen since doing this, which, I mean, I just started this not very long ago with adding the Muse to it, but this is one of the most dramatic shifts I've seen where we go from overactive and kind of at a diagonal both ways a little bit to a brain that's almost 100% in just a relaxed state where it's all working on the same page.
Wow.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel good. I definitely could tell that I was more like relaxed, calm state as it went on. So it makes sense. I can definitely like connect the way that I felt to the difference between those two.